What's up, everyone? Welcome to the next lesson. Today, again, super exciting subject, getting back to 3D and 3D alone. We will cover the nighttime interior lighting. That's right, that's something many of you requested and we are happy to deliver. So yeah, let's see what's going on in the back of our kitchen and jump straight into it. Okay, so first off, nighttime scenarios are different than daytime scenarios. Well, many artists don't separate lighting into different categories. There's different logic and tools when dealing with daytime, nighttime, studio lighting, and all that. And the main difference in nighttime rendering between the daytime is that we will be adding lights on top of each other. We will start from a dark base and we will add lights one after another. It won't look great from the get-go, but we will work our way through it. In daytime scenarios, we just flood the interior with lighting and that's that, everything is done. So let's see how this looks in practice. This is our scene viewed from the ceiling, fairly dynamic angle. The camera happens to be right inside the wall, that's why we have some artifacts here in the bottom right corner, some clipping issues, but don't worry about it, we will fix that in post-production later on. And at this point, I will turn off the external view and all these overrides here. So we use HDRI that we can see here. The exact HDRI is Peter Guthrie, 1958. It is a strong blue hour and it's pretty versatile. And I know I said the best for interiors is using native lighting systems, but the thing is, it's best for daytime interiors, I would argue that using HDRIs is fine for nighttime interiors, but anyway, you do you, choose whatever you like. So starting from the top, we increase the exposure to 3.5 using a color correction node. Now we can turn those overrides on again. You can see the external view now. It's the same override everywhere and it's a 360 panorama. It's a spherical image, so the perspective fits perfectly without adjusting anything else. And fun fact, it's not an HDRI, it's just a regular JPEG with a city at night. And at this point, just at the beginning of the lighting process, it's actually a good time to pause and analyze a few things, even though we might not be fully aware of it. So first thing, the image is quite flat. The values, the tonal ranges are very narrow and low. Only in the external view we have some brighter pixels, but inside the interior, tonal ranges are quite low. Generally, the brightness is in the lower 1/5 of everything. And yeah, just to say it one more time, the only bright pixels in our image should be the ones from the external view. That's where the brightest pixels should be. If the floor is as bright as the lights outside, it means something already went wrong. So, okay, moving on, we have the aces here, which is our default tone mapping in Corona. We get a much more contrasty image. The entire values were low before, but now parts of the image almost get lost in the shadows. Don't worry though, at this stage, this is fine. We also add a curve to bring some details back from the lower tonal ranges, just as we did before in the previous interior. Mostly enhances the living room area and adds appeal to it, but it's very subtle in this case. Bear in mind that this tone mapping is set to work with the artificial lighting, which we'll add later. So yeah, at this point you can see both and without it, so you understand how it looks when you're working on your scenes as well. This completes the first step. We see that the lighting is quite naturalistic, something we might expect if you go up in the middle of the night without any artificial light, if you went downstairs to the kitchen for some water or something like that. And we are starting to see a nice dualism between two areas. On one side, it's flooded with cool blue light, while on the other side, it's not lit at all. So it has the potential to catch something warm later on. Even though there's some dark spots, we will soon make them brighter, so that's the potential for it. Next up, we are slowly building artificial lighting. And I think the most important thing here is not to flood everything with ceiling lights right from the get-go. People very often put tons of different lightings into the ceiling and raise their intensities, but that will backfire badly. It will flatten out the light-shadow relationship, so we will wait with those lighting a little bit later. First, we will try to find some sources of side directional light. It's always nice to find something that can build a natural light gradient. In our case, that's the light coming from the kitchen. We are adding a whole group of lights here that will bring this space to life. And it starts to highlight and lift those areas that were previously in complete shadow. It also enhances the living room area. It feels very natural, introducing this aspect of livability. So yeah, we are not completely immersed in this naturalistic darkness anymore. And from a technical point, those are mainly large rectangular lights. Spheres, planes, something like this, they are primarily in this zone, so the feeling here is quite directional, and this is what we want. Next up, we fill up some dark spots left in the lower area. You look at our scene, and the fact that there's a lamp really helps. We can actually put some discs there below the lamp, and they illuminate the space. So yeah, I think we can just introduce some lights on the fireplace, on the metal above the fireplace, so that the edge is outlined and gives some kind of extra geometry. We have some generic discs, light planes. They have slightly warmer temperature, rather low intensity. For different scenes, those will be different values, obviously, but what we should keep in mind is the brightness levels of your image. And at this point, we have the lower part prominently marked. It's kind of nice that we keep a bit of that cool lighting on the sofa, but at the same time, we have a lot of warmth coming from the top. So we are not flooding the interior with artificial light. They are not strong. We are not flooding it with the exterior light. We keep control over everything, almost like a surgeon. You know, we are selectively brightening up different areas, and it's something we encourage you to do as well. Local color adjustments, directional, so something that just, focuses on each areas and baby stepping your way through it. Another step, and sorry we're showing it right now, in general, that's the last step you should take care of, but accidentally we showed it right now. It's not a big deal though, it's a minor change overall. We add some IS lighting from the ceiling, so the ones that I said before that are the last step. It's most noticeable in the darkest areas. They read better now. And that's that. And last but not least, we have the lighting on the staircase. And that one is really cool and it's really powerful. It serves a really cool purpose. Linear lights or cove lighting is very attractive in nighttime interior shots. They naturally illuminate the space, but at the same time, they create some sort of lines. They will be brighter, so they will have a very strong compositional impact. Viewers will follow those lines or they will gravitate towards them, so we can take advantage of it. And here we can emphasize this journey from the staircase. It's very visually appealing, and at the same time we emphasize a huge selling point of this penthouse, which is the staircase. So whenever you have something that can use a cove lighting, it will sell those ideas a little bit more. And to accentuate the staircase even more, we add the lighting connected to the steps. We emphasize the rhythm of the steps. It's a nice touch that works hand in hand with the lines of the staircase. Yep, fantastic. And we are almost done. Just before we wrap up, let's look at the tone mapping once again. If we step back and remove the tone mapping, we can see that it's very flat. We have a few overexposed areas, but not too many. And certainly ACES adds a lot of that naturalistic feel that we would expect from editorial photography. But if your interior is darker, brighter, whatever, you can use Filmic, you can use Reinhardt. Again, we encourage you to see the tone mapping lesson in the Mediterranean scene. Okay, and that's about it. I hope you found this lesson interesting. And as you saw, nighttime interior rendering is something different than daytime rendering, You need to add lighting layer by layer. You need to have something interesting to work with, like an interesting angle. Not every angle, not every image will look awesome in this scenario, so try to keep all those things in mind before you start. Thanks, and see you in the next one.